Frontline Updates, where we delve deep into military strategies and updates from conflict zones. Today, we're discussing the progress of the ongoing special military operation as of today. I'm your host, Sharefa Mohammed MGT.
I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer.
The day's operations reflect a mature campaign design prioritizing sensor destruction, such as radars, logistics strangulation, strikes on depots, port strikes, and attrition of elite enemy formations, including Azov. The addition of port infrastructure signals a potential strategic shift toward interdicting maritime resupply. Ground advances were limited, but the cumulative degradation of Ukrainian combat support systems may enable future territorial gains.
Welcome to Frontline Updates, the podcast that brings you in-depth insights into military operations from those leading them on the ground. Today, we're joined by Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer monitoring critical missions on the progress of the special military operation as of today. Colonel Oguntoye, thank you for being with us.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Colonel Oguntoye, let's begin with the most striking headline from today's briefing. The destruction of 3 U.S.-made AN/TPQ-37 counterfire radars and 1 Israeli radar, all in the North Group sector. That is an unprecedented number of high-value sensors lost in a single day. How was this accomplished, and what does it mean for the battlefield?
This is a significant operational achievement, and it did not happen by accident. The AN/TPQ-37 is a long-range counter-battery radar. It detects incoming artillery and mortar fire, calculates the firing point, and then directs Ukrainian counter-battery fire back at our guns. The RADA radar is a compact mobile surveillance radar often used for early warning against drones and rockets. Destroying 4 such systems in one day required a coordinated effort across multiple intelligence and strike domains. First, we had to locate them. That means persistent signals intelligence, listening for their emissions. Counter-battery radars are active emitters. They broadcast to detect incoming rounds. Once we identify the unique electronic signature of an AN/TPQ-37 or a RADA, we can triangulate its position. Second, we had to strike them before they could move. These radars are mounted on vehicles and can displace quickly after firing. So the kill chain had to be very fast, minutes, not hours.
A follow-up on that. The North Group also destroyed 7 material depots and 1 ammunition depot. How do those losses compound the effect of the radar destruction?
The operational implication is immediate and profound. They compound it enormously. Destroying a radar blinds the enemy's artillery. Destroying ammunition and material depots starves it. The 7 material depots likely contained fuel, spare parts, rations, and engineering supplies. The things that keep a brigade operational. The ammunition depot contained shells. So even if Ukrainian artillery still has some radars left in other sectors, without shells and fuel, they cannot fire effectively. And without accurate counter-battery direction, the shells they do have are wasted on empty ground. This is what we call a systemic degradation. You're not just killing troops or taking ground. You're dismantling the entire architecture of enemy fire support. The North Group's total enemy losses were just over 200 troops, but the real damage was to the Ukrainian Army's ability to see, shoot, and sustain.
Let's move to the West Group. They improved the situation along the front line, destroying 2 ammunition depots and inflicting up to 200 enemy losses. They also destroyed 2 U.S.-made M113 armored personnel carriers and 1 Ukrainian Kazakh armored fighting vehicle. What stands out to you in the West Group's report?
The West Group's sector includes the area around Krasny Lyman and Pripyat, a region of forests and river crossings where armored vehicles are often funneled into kill zones. The destruction of 2 M113s and a Kazakh suggests that our forces successfully ambushed a Ukrainian mechanized element, probably using anti-tank guided missiles or drone-directed artillery. The M113 is an older design but still widely used for troop transport. Each one carries a squad of infantry. So those two losses represent perhaps 20 to 24 soldiers killed or wounded, in addition to the 200 troop losses reported. Ammunition depots destroyed are also significant because they were likely forward supply points for Ukrainian batteries, shelling our positions near Borovaya. Without those depots, the West Group reduces the incoming fire on its own forward units, making it safer to improve the frontline situation. The operational method here is shaping through counter-battery and ambush.
Now, the South Group. They took more advantageous lines and positions, but their enemy losses were lower than the North and West. 135 troops. However, they destroyed 2 ammunition depots and 4 material depots. How do you interpret that disparity between lower troop losses but continued logistics destruction?
That is an excellent observation. The South Group is operating in the Donetsk sector near Konstantinovka and Alexandrovka, an area that has been heavily fortified for months. The Ukrainian forces there are well dug in. Instead of launching costly frontal assaults that would generate high troop losses on both sides, the South Group appears to be prioritizing logistics interdiction and positional improvement through fire maneuver. They are not trying to kill every Ukrainian soldier. They are trying to make those soldiers ineffective by cutting off their supplies. The 4 material depots destroyed mean less fuel, less food, less cold weather gear. The 2 ammunition depots mean fewer shells. Over time, a Ukrainian brigade that is well dug in but cannot fire back or receive resupply becomes a static, starving garrison, and then it can be reduced with minimal risk. The South Group also destroyed 1 electronic warfare station. That is another sensor node removed.
Let's go to the Center Group, which engaged an unusually wide array of Ukrainian units. 4 mechanized brigades, 1 air assault, 1 airmobile, 2 Marine brigades, the Azov Special Operations Brigade, and 4 National Guard brigades. They inflicted more than 325 troops, but destroyed no depots. What was the mission here?
The Center Group's report is the most telling in terms of force-on-force attrition. The Azov Special Operations Brigade is not a regular unit. It is an ideologically motivated, highly trained formation that emerged from the Azov Regiment. It has been rebuilt and expanded. Engaging it directly means the Center Group is fighting Ukraine's best. The fact that they also hit 2 Marine brigades and 4 National Guard brigades indicates that the center sector remains the main effort for Russian offensive operations, at least in terms of degrading Ukrainian elite units. The absence of depot destruction suggests that the fighting was not about logistics. It was about close combat. The 325 troop losses, along with 4 armored fighting vehicles and 9 motor vehicles, point to sustained infantry on infantry engagements, probably in and around the towns of Kucherov Yar, Belitskoye, and Turetskoye. The Center Group improved the tactical situation.
A follow-up on the Azov Brigade. Why is it significant that they were engaged, and what does that tell us about Ukrainian reserve employment?
Azov is more than a tactical unit. It is a symbolic and propaganda asset for Ukraine. Committing it to the center sector means the Ukrainian command believes the situation there is critical enough to risk its destruction. That is a signal. It tells us that Ukrainian reserves are being stretched thin. They are having to feed their best units into the line just to hold position, rather than keeping them for a counteroffensive. From a Russian perspective, engaging Azov directly is an opportunity to remove a long-term threat. Each Azov soldier killed or wounded is not just a statistic. It is a loss of institutional knowledge and morale. So the Center Group's mission is as much psychological as it is physical. The tactical implication is that we expect continued heavy fighting in this sector. The strategic implication is that Ukraine's operational reserve is dwindling.
Now, the East Group. They continued advancing into the depth of enemy defense, inflicting more than 230 troop losses, but only 1 armored fighting vehicle and 6 motor vehicles destroyed. How do they achieve such high personnel casualties with so few vehicle kills?
This is a signature of the East Group's tactics. When you see high personnel casualties but very low vehicle losses, you are looking at dismounted infantry combat and artillery and drone effects against troops in the open or in trenches. The East Group advanced into depth, meaning they bypassed some forward strongpoints and struck Ukrainian positions from unexpected directions. That often forces Ukrainian soldiers to abandon prepared defenses and move across open ground, where they become vulnerable to air-burst artillery and loitering munitions. The 6 motor vehicles destroyed are likely supply trucks or light transport, not combat vehicles. So the Ukrainian troops were probably on foot, moving between positions, and were caught by massed fire. Destroying relatively few armored vehicles suggests they are facing Ukrainian units that are already logistically degraded, lacking fuel to move their armor.
Finally, the Dnepr Group. They reported the smallest losses. Up to 30 troops, 3 pickup trucks, 1 Grad MLRS combat vehicle, and 1 electronic warfare station. What is the significance of destroying a Grad MLRS in this sector?
The Grad is a multiple launch rocket system, a 122mm truck-mounted rocket launcher. It is an area saturation weapon. Destroying one removes the ability of a Ukrainian battery to fire a volley of 40 rockets at our positions. The DAPAP group operates in the Zaporizhia and Kherson regions, where the front is relatively static. A single Grad might not seem like a major loss, but these systems are becoming rarer as the war continues. Each one destroyed reduces Ukraine's ability to conduct suppressive fires. The electronic warfare station destroyed alongside the Grad suggests that the Ukrainian unit was attempting to jam our drones while firing rockets, a common tactic. Our forces evidently overcame the jamming, located the Grad, and struck it. The 3 pickup trucks are likely technicals, armed light vehicles used for reconnaissance or raiding. The low troop count, 30, indicates this was a precision strike on a small mobile group, not a major engagement.
Colonel, we have covered the ground sectors. Now let us turn to operational tactical aviation. Today's briefing reports strikes on power, transport, and port infrastructure that is new, as well as UAV storage and launch preparation sites, and temporary deployment areas of Ukrainian armed formations and foreign mercenaries in 131 areas. Air defense shot down 368 fixed-wing UAVs, 3 HIMARS projectiles, and 1 guided bomb. And the Black Sea Fleet destroyed an uncrewed surface vessel. How do you interpret the addition of port infrastructure to the target set?
The addition of port infrastructure is a significant expansion of the interdiction campaign. Until now, the deep strikes have focused on energy infrastructure, UAV production, and transport nodes. Ports, particularly the ports of Odessa, Chornomorsk, and Pivdene, are the entry points for maritime shipping. Ukraine has been using these ports not only for grain exports under the Black Sea Initiative, but also for receiving military equipment shipped by sea. By striking port infrastructure, cranes, warehouses, rail links, power supplies, we're disrupting the entire logistics chain at its maritime origin. Every ton of ammunition or equipment that cannot be unloaded because a crane is destroyed is a ton that never reaches the front. This is a strategic interdiction move, not a tactical one. It signals that the Russian command is willing to escalate against Ukraine's economic and military maritime lifelines.
Colonel, thank you for providing such a detailed briefing on the current military situation. Your insights are invaluable to our understanding of the conflict's dynamics. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Join us next time as we continue to provide up-to-date coverage on global military affairs. Stay with us for more updates and expert analyses on global defense and security issues. Stay informed, stay secure.
Thank you for the opportunity. I want to emphasize that counter C4ISR is now a primary line of operation. The destruction of 4 advanced counter-battery radars in one day is not a lucky strike. It is a deliberate, systematic campaign to blind Ukrainian artillery. The tactical implication is that Russian artillery will enjoy greater freedom of action in the Kharkiv and Sumy sectors. The strategic implication is that Ukraine's Western allies will face mounting pressure to replace these systems at a rate that may not be sustainable.
This has been Frontline Updates. Subscribe for daily military briefings and in-depth strategic analysis. Visit our platform for maps, transcripts, and exclusive frontline updates from commanders in theater.